the Chris and Emily show contacted me.
Yeah.
And so I started doing devotions with Chris and Emily shortly thereafter. And that was really the start of my broadcasting journey.
Now,
Yeah.
when you first came to us, Andrew, tell us a little bit about your health background, and just tell everybody your story in a couple minutes, because it's the foundation they need to know so they can see what God's been doing through your ministry, because it's pretty cool. That's why you're here today, to talk about that.
Okay, well, I was born 3 months prematurely in May of 1979. So I actually just celebrated my 44th birthday. As a result of being born early, I developed cerebral palsy because of complications after birth. And so I've been in a wheelchair my whole life. I became a Christian when I was almost 5 years old in April of 79. Best decision I ever made in my life. But the first 9 years of my salvation, I knew where my eternal destiny lay, but my earthly destination stunk. I was mad at God for making me disabled. I said, God, if you hadn't given me a crippled body, then I could serve you. But since you did, I can't. So
Mm-hmm.
when you call me, we'll talk. That was kind of the conversation and the narrative between me and God for those 9 years. And my brother passed away at 3 months of age when I was 13, and that was my rock bottom moment. And from 13 to 14, I was the bitterest of all. And I didn't want to go to church, but the thing about being in a wheelchair and being a minor is that your parents can stick you in the van every Sunday and make you go to church
Yeah, they can.
and make you face God when you really don't want to. And when I was 14, God and I did business, and I went to a conference where they talked about the things you can't change about yourself, and one of those is the way you're made physically. And at that point, God said, if you'll get off the throne of your life and let me take over, I will do in and through you things that you can't even imagine at this point. And so it was at that point that I committed to ministry. I didn't know what that would look like, and it took another 16 years before I formalized it, but God's been with me every step of the way.
Yeah, and in fact, the ministry is called Speaking for Him, and speaking was not always your forte. Every time I listen to you, Andrew, and when I listen to your podcast, I get really excited about how well you enunciate.
Yeah, you've come a long way, and I want to have you talk about that. Just developing not just the speaking, but the other difficulties that you did have to overcome in order to fulfill the call that God had on your life. What was that like?
Well, I think everywhere I looked as a kid, there were people, even teachers, sad to say, in my early education, who were constantly downgrading my potential. That's one of the reasons my parents pulled me out of school and homeschooled me after they held me back after first grade. And I never flunked a grade after that, by the way, and ended up with a bachelor's degree in communications. But one thing that really helped me with my enunciation and diction was, first of all, I went to Toastmasters for 5 years, Toastmasters International. You wouldn't know it today, but the founder of Toastmasters actually founded it as a way to teach people to proclaim the gospel.
Did not know that.
They've kind of departed from that vision, and it's more secular now. But 5 years doing that and being graded on my speeches was a good thing, because I learned how to deliver them in a timely manner and without filler words. And then Chris, in the early days that we broadcasted together, was very hard on me and taught me a lot about getting your message out in a timely manner so that you can do tight radio segments like Devotion in Motion.
Yeah, and I wasn't hard on you.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, you were.
No, not like a mean taskmaster. It was literally, we had people saying you can't understand what he's saying, and I said, I don't care. God's got a call on his life. We're going to keep him. Yeah. And so I made you cry a couple times, but I also made you get up on the wheel and do what you were called to do. And
because here's the
sometimes,
thing.
you got to be a jerk.
You
I guess. I don't
believed
know.
in him. You believed in him, and you
was,
knew that God could do great things. And so he didn't want, Chris was kind of maybe the opposite of some of those teachers of downplaying what you were capable of doing. And it was hard, wasn't it?
Well, I meant it in the nicest way.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, seriously, I do, because
I know you do, bro. I know.
If you have people in your life who just say that you're the cat's pajamas and they don't push you to be better, then you're going to be like the early rejects on American Idol who came on in season 1 and said, "Oh, my whole family says I can sing. It's my career. It's my calling."
That is a great illustration. I love that.
This has been a sample of No Apology with Emily and Chris. For full episodes and other content, go to our website, freshroadmedia.com. And thank you for sharing and subscribing.